I want to immediately go into a question that I've been wanting to hear the answer to, and that is that I understand that Carlos has mentioned that there is very little time for us left. Kylie, can you tell me what that means, what he's referring to your understanding?
Yes, that question has actually two aspects to it. The one of the aspects is that there very little time for mankind in general. The other aspect is there very little time for sorcerers. We sort of have to keep ourselves in check, because what we want to do is answer the first one very, very quickly. And I think that easily...
Most people want to hear the answer to the first question.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay,
the first one...
Don't forget that.
I won't. I won't. The first one, the first aspect, we have heard that sorcerers' opinion is that there is very little time left for mankind. But, on the other hand, that opinion, that mood, that idea has been in vogue for many, many, many years. Maybe even before we even knew. And the world is still going strong.
When you say little time, do you mean the time of what is now, and then there will be a beginning of it? I mean, that's
what I'm saying. We don't know.
No.
People have been saying that for millennia. It's been going on, for a very long time. But everything seems to still be going. So nobody really knows. How can we know?
Right.
The other aspect is there very little time left for sorcerers? Yes. There's very, very little time left.
Why?
It's a minute to midnight. Because basically, Carlos Castaneda and the other three disciples have fulfilled their task. They've completed it. They were all given the task a very long time ago to become empty, to become void of all of the concerns of the world, all of the concerns about me, the neediness of the me, the I, to be fulfilled, the desires, the wants, the ideas about the self, the ideals that we have to spend all of our energy on maintaining throughout the day. Those are all gone. What we are facing right now is that they are now confronted with a new task, sorcerer's task. And Rennie will comment on that.
Basically, as we see it, their new task is to leave this dimension or this plane of the face of the earth with their total awareness, with their total life force. On one level, I guess you could interpret it as it's their time to die, but it's not death as we know it. They're not going to be buried in the ground. Their bodies will not decompose. Instead, like Kylie has said, through all their 30 years of discipline, and as their level of awareness has raised to the fullest to fulfill their luminous egg, their bodies will burn from the fire within, adding to their awareness, and they will leave. They will leave this dimension.
They'll transform their bodies into sheer awareness. So it's something that enters into what sorcerers call the inconceivable, because it's not something that we have terms for or something that we can understand.
And we will do everything within our power to grab a hold in that last second.
Run after them.
And
go with them.
So you don't have a feeling about like trying to bring the earth with you, and that's just someone else's job, that's the job of others? Because there are many of us who are working with what we call ascension, and that is lifting humankind as well, and ourselves, into a higher dimension.
Well, I can't comment on that because I'm not a practitioner of what it is that you've said, but I can comment on what we practice. And I know that Carlos Castaneda has said that the world is fine. The world will take care of itself. If human beings could just have a revolution for themselves. The revolution for the world.
The earth also.
Yeah, the earth is pretty much is what I'm talking about. I don't know.
You experience the earth as a conscious being, then.
Oh,
don't you?
definitely.
Right. So we agree on that language.
Yes.
At least we're
Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying that the earth will survive
She will.
the humans.
Yeah, the earth will have a revolution of its own.
So the reason you're bringing these movements out into the open and Carlos is coming out of the closet, as they say, in a spiritual sense, is to bring the availability of this energy enhancer, this energy body enhancer, Tensegrity and his teachings, to more and more people.
Yes.
That Carol Teague's return opened the door.
Just that blasted open something.
Yeah.
It opened the door, but they have always been compelled to bring this opportunity to people.
And that is what the books were written for, to
Yes.
share the experiences.
They held that intent.
It's and the Tensegrity is the first step. That's being
There are more plans to make it more available, make more tools available, in a sense, as Tensegrity movements are a tool for
Well, in a way,
consciousness or perception growth.
well, plans are difficult to talk about, but we don't have plans. Whatever is in front of us, we act on impeccably, and this is what's in front of us right now. And so we do it to the best of our ability.
But is there an intention, say, to use a word for a second tape or a third tape, or
Well, Carlos says that there's 28 volumes.
that's an intention, right? That's
busy.
almost a plan in
Yeah.
words, in yielded words, right?
It's an intent, or it's a conglomeration of things that became known to him.
Right.
And so he said, this is what's there. Whether or not we will have the energy to do it, I don't know. We will all see.
But one tape is out, and that's the first one of what he sees as
Yes.
28 tapes.
Yes.
Yes, and
Of
the second
movements.
one is it's
We
almost
have the
done.
movements for the second
Right.
one.
And you're going to demonstrate some of the movements that aren't on the first tape a little later on.
Yes.
Yes.
Live, right at studio.
That's
Live.
Whoa.
The second tape, the first one was called 12 Basic Movements to Gather Energy and Promote Well-Being, and we have the name for the second tape. It's 12 preparatory movements for utilizing hidden bodily energy. So,
And do you do all 28 12s in a day?
Like each of you in your life, do you?
I mean, do you
do
some people
these?
do yoga and they do 12 exercises. I mean, do you 28 times 12 every day?
Oh, there's more than that. There's millions.
You don't do
Millions.
millions every day, don't kid me.
we do as much as we possibly can.
Well, and you know, that brings up
And
the
is there
whole
a certain
idea.
order?
Well, they're delivered in a certain order to the public at large, because that does carry a specific intent, just as a book carries a specific intent. What Carlos Castaneda does not want is, he's not a guru, and he doesn't want to be, and he doesn't want followers. He wants peers. He wants people who can will truly practice the Tensegrity until they reach the point to where they are energy interacting with energy, and then they will know the order of things. They will know how to act. And so that's the important thing. But yes, in the beginning it's important to follow the order, because it is set up in a specific intent.
So how long would it take an ordinary person, or a person that's on the spiritual path and interested, to become adept at these? Are these movements easy or difficult? How long did they take you to actually
Oh, I
learn?
think they're very difficult.
They're very difficult. They
Yes.
seem like they're very, very concentrated.
They're,
Extremely.
yeah, they're
But
very intense.
You can't be thinking.
No.
When I
And you
watch
can't
it,
watch
it looks like-
television when you do it. I
The
noticed
movements, the movements elicit that. The movements themselves elicit the silence. You don't have to think of having to achieve some great state of silence before you embark on your first Tensegrity movement, because that first tape is designed to be accessible exactly to someone who wants to begin this. And the movements, they're complete passes in themselves, right there, that you can do and start working with immediately. So it's not, we don't want to think, even though sometimes it's difficult to get the precision of certain movements, we don't want to think in hierarchies of, now I'm an adept. There's
a
no
green
such
belt
thing.
and a black belt.
Yeah, exactly. That's not,
Right.
that's the antithesis of what we're doing.
Can you just quickly, because we're going to show another clip really soon, but can you quickly just give us a visual, give us an image of what it was like when you first met Carlos? What was that like? Did you know that you would be working with this person? And
No,
As soon as you,
no, we didn't know that. No, I don't think any of us.
No, and I think one of the first steps, as Ягьи said, for all of us was Tensegrity.
Okay.